Yes, it is about time I accepted that the biking season is coming to an end. It is the end of September after all, but damn, what a season. I remember, must have been 5 months ago now, our little ride out to Goodrington. Honestly, that bit of unscrewing the mirrors, that bit just makes me laugh every time. And along with what I think is the perfect music for it, it does make me chuckle every single time. So this is what it's come to. We're now unscrewing wing mirrors to fit motorbikes under gates that we may not be allowed to go under. Yeah, mate. And getting to ride Wisdom, the CBR 600 again. Yes, that was brilliant. Little did I know that that would be the last time I would ever ride that bike. And also finally getting to take a passenger, albeit only round a car park. I was preparing to take pillions, so the nice controlled confined environment of a car park seemed like an ideal place. At some point we had what I believe now to be, for me at least, the mandatory trip out to the reservoir. In fact, I wouldn't mind going back out there again before it starts getting too wet and too cold, because it just gets too muddy. It's a lovely ride out there in the summer, but it does get just a little bit too muddy out of season. I actually don't know where I'm going today, so this will be interesting. I know Ashburton was mentioned and the moors, so I'm just following, which I don't mind. Helps me concentrate more on filming, gives me an opportunity to reminisce about this year's biking season. Of course, in May, Paint and Bike Nights returned. And so did Jolly's Bike Nights. And the Paint and Bike Nights caught me by surprise, because something different happened this year that hadn't happened last year or the year before, and that was that more and more people started to recognize me from YouTube. And it was amazing. Every single time I went to Paint and Bike Night, I was meeting someone new that recognized me, that knew me, and that was amazing to actually talk to my viewers, talk to my subscribers. And then in the height of the summer, I met Days Day Out, who is a guy who started watching my channel, subscribed, watched my videos, and then launched his own channel, which is just amazing. You know, as a YouTuber, I remember when I first started the channel, and I remember saying to someone, I'm starting a channel because I want to put into practice my creativity, and I've always had an interest in videography. And in the run-up to me first buying this bike 6 years ago, I watched a lot of YouTube content, and those YouTubers, they really helped me. They helped me not only make a choice on what bike to get, but they helped me with regards to my confidence in actually getting out there, doing my CVT and getting a bike. And so the idea of being able to give something back to a community that had helped me so much was amazing. And I remember saying to someone, if my channel helps just one person, then it has been a success. And when you get the occasional message along the lines of, I've watched your videos, I love your channel, I've now gone and bought myself a YZF, thank you very much, it's really helpful. And then there's other people who will send a message saying, asking a question, can you help me with this, can you show me that, can you do a video on this? And normally I'm able to help them, and again I feel like it's giving something back to a community that really helped me out. But meeting Days Day Out was something else. Here's a guy who I asked him, why did you start your channel? And he said, I started my channel because of you. And I really felt that. I really felt that. That really meant something to me, that did. It's one thing to help someone gain their confidence, choose their bike, get out and do their CVT. Maybe you help them with something mechanical, something technical. But to have someone say, I started my channel because of you, that's probably the highlight of this season. I could probably show you 100 highlights of this season, but I think that one tops the lot. And not only did Days Day Out start his channel, but he created something amazing when he created the milkshake run. The milkshake run it's become this famous thing. It's absolutely amazing. I'm going to miss it. I'm definitely not going to be waiting until May to grab myself another milkshake, even if it means doing a solo milkshake run. It won't be my first. I've done this 3 times already. But that was, yeah, the milkshake run, another amazing highlight of the year. And with your high points, of course, you get your low points. The low point of this year, probably the one that hit me the most, the one that hit me the hardest, is probably the day that Rafiki got stolen. The day I got that phone call to say that Rafiki had been stolen, it's difficult to describe, but it's that sinking, anxiety-induced feeling. It's sickening, would probably be the word, to have gone through so much with a bike, not just to have put in so much time and effort, you know, bringing the bike up to his former glory, you know, getting his horrible grey faded panels cleaned up, getting rid of any rusty bolts, etc., making him look nice. It's not just about that. It's not just about the money and the effort that you spend on a bike. That is important, but it's also about the bond that you create with your bike. Rafiki taught me to ride. Don't get me wrong, my first CVT with Mackenzie was amazing, and I went on to do my test with Mackenzie a couple of years later. But as much as Mackenzie did teach me how to ride, it's probably more fitting to say that Mackenzie taught me the basics, taught me how to be safe on the road, and taught me how to pass my CVT. Rafiki taught me how to ride. And the bond that you get with the bike that teaches you how to ride is amazing. And so to find out that it had been stolen was as I say, I think the most fitting word for it is sickening. But then to find out that we'd got him back, that he'd been found. So many people have said, I'm so glad you got Rafiki back, and absolutely, so am I. I know how fortunate I was to get him back. Of all the bikes that get stolen, especially 125s, how many do you actually get back? Because it's got to be something like 1%, or even 0.1%. I suspect that 99% or 99.9% of stolen bikes you never see again. So to get him back was just amazing. See, look at this. This is why I struggle to accept that the season has ended. This probably looks amazing on camera. I mean, the sun's shining, it's the end of September, the sun is shining, we are out in nature on our bikes. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this, but it is only about 10 degrees. So from a viewer perspective, this is really nice. From a rider perspective, yes, I get to ride the bike, you know, I get to experience this firsthand, but it is definitely getting chilly at the minute. I've actually, for the first time since the summer, I've actually gone full winter gear mode. Thermals and winter gloves, winter boots, all my extra little bits and pieces, and I'm glad that I did. I was umming and ahhing about it, because again, you go full winter gear when you're trying to convince yourself that the season hasn't ended, and you're just contradicting yourself. But I'm glad that I've gone full winter gear. It's definitely nippy. Another highlight of the year, of course, was my son passing his CBT and buying himself a brand new Lexmoto LXS. And although he doesn't ride very much, it's been very nice to see him on a bike. It's also been very nice for me to get to ride something else, you know, to get to ride that little Lexmoto LXS, which definitely caught me by surprise just how nice it is to ride. I even made it down to Rainbow in Ashburton this year, although I'm not sure if I've got any footage of that little trip. But their bike nights don't end. They'll just have a bike night all the way through the winter, so it may be possible that the three of us that are on this ride today, and maybe one or two others, could head down to Rainbow again at some point this year. And then next year, I wouldn't mind finding some more bike nights, bike shows, etc. to go to, because this year, what did I do this year? We had dodgy gravel there. We had Jolly's Bikes in the Park got cancelled. Yes, Jolly's Bikes in the Park got cancelled, but I did for the first time make it to Dawlish Bike and Trike Show, and that was nice because it was the first time I'd actually been. I'd missed last year and the year before. That was definitely a highlight of the year. That was really nice. In fact, next year again, I wouldn't mind getting a few more people to go with me, just because it's nicer to ride out. And you know, I am a solo biker a lot of the time, but bike time is not exclusively my time anymore. But yeah, Dawlish Bike and Trike Show, definitely another highlight. Next year we'll get out to some more events, hopefully. One thing that we'll do, I was talking to a couple of chaps from, well, they're in Devon but they're not exactly local, and we were talking about, I forget the name of it now, along the south coast. You go to Lyme Regis, and then you go past Lyme Regis. I can't think of the name of it, but that sounds like a bloody good ride, that does. So hopefully next year, when things warm up, we can get out on that ride. Of course, to do a journey like that, I could take either bike. I could do that journey on my 125. I mean, I did a 60-mile round trip recently on this bike, so I could easily go to Lyme Regis and slightly beyond on a 125, but it would just be easier to take my 675. But of course, before I can do that, I need to replace her radiator, because last week, yeah, about 10 days ago, she decided that she didn't want her current radiator. So we've got a fresh, nice, shiny, fresh new one to fit. And lastly, as I say, more recently, I did do a 60-mile round trip on my little 125 down to Dawlish and beyond. We made it down to Blackpool Sands, Streetgate, Slapton Ley, and Torcross. And I'd never been down there before, and that's definitely another highlight of this year. I'd never, not just never ridden down that part of that part of Devon, I'd just never been at all, and it is an amazing place. I will definitely be returning to that part of Devon at some point next year, probably for another 60-mile round trip.